Broken Thing, Chapter 23. Garrus talked to her every day. He would walk out to the pavilion where she'd been laid to rest, where he would not rest. It was what everyone else needed when he was outside this pavilion. Well, everyone except Russ, who tried to make sure Garrus ate, tried to make sure he slept, tried to listen to him as he talked, and made no sense. Garrus would end up in a twilight of mental states and versions of the truth. He tried not to get drunk, but he didn't manage that with Russ there, and he still really didn't know what he said late at night in his rooms over ale and grief. Garrus would apologize and say Russ had better things to do than be an assistant. No, Garrus, I really don't. I'm less of an assistant and more someone who doesn't give a damn about anything but you, so I'm afraid you're stuck with me. You do bring good ale. I assume that's why you let me in every time. Not for breakfast. That'd be weird. You'd just let yourself in anyway. Damn right I would. Russ was always there with food and support the next morning, the next afternoon, the next night. Garrus didn't really think it mattered what he said in front of Russ. It never had. What mattered was that he could say it at all. Midday Garrus would stand at her memorial flame, something he'd insisted on by saying it was a human custom. It was, but it wasn't. It meant to him that her spirit was still burning, and always would. Burns were the most painful wounds. But even there, he would never say aloud that he knew the Citadel was gone, that he knew everyone on it had died instantaneously, and that the reason why it had been done that way was that evacuation was not a concern for Sinar Tualon or Leviathan, and there weren't enough captive Reapers to undertake that assault. Leviathan had been in the skies as attackers and not defenders. He would tell her the news every day. My mother asked about you. I couldn't think of what to say at first, then she listened for 3 hours. She's sorry she never got to meet you. Cara, I keep looking through your reports. Was there anything else you tried to say to me? I wonder if there's code. I know it's selfish, but you can't hear me, really, so you can't complain. I want to hear your voice saying new words. Russ thinks I'm crazy. I'm not sure he's wrong. Worse, I'm sure he's right sometimes. Definitely sometimes. Not all the time. The Leviathan haven't contacted any of us. Is that a good sign or a bad sign? Everyone from the Normandy is at the Madless now. There's no role for the ship. We have a strategic fuel reserve and a ton of ships, but right now they're very expensive paperweights unless the destination is Manet. We're rebuilding. There had been thousands of Reapers in the system, but I have to hand it to you and your plan, which we didn't do anything but see from the ground. This system is cleared. Seems like the Leviathan have it under control, and is that good or bad? I don't know. Nobody new is dying, and that's good for now. I do know nobody's afraid at the sight of Reapers anymore. They've stopped destroying things and started rebuilding with us. Thank you for now. I mean, thank you for the now I have, not thank you for now, and I'll take it back later. You know I won't take it back. I love you so much. I think you're full of crap, Cara. I think you lied, 'cause if your mouth is open, that's likely to be what's happening. I think you're suffering. I think you spent your entire life suffering, and for some reason that I will never understand, it was turned into eternal torment. You're not going to be fine. You're not fine. He's hurting you. And it's not better that you don't know it, it's worse. Why is it that I get to be home with our family who are safe while you're... By the way, they made me Primarch. Not much call for a counselor anymore without a citadel. Well, that was stupid. I just burned the hell out of my hand on this everlasting flame thing. Turns out, fire's hot. You probably could have told me not to stick my hand in it and see how long I could hold it there. I shouldn't compare the times you were dead, but I do. You're not dead. Would you be better off dead? I don't know. When you died, you had suffered for 6 minutes total. 6 minutes, Cara. You think I'd get better at this helpless thing, but I'm really not managing. The Leviathan have made contact. They found me. It's an unpleasant process. I'm pretty sure you know that. Russ sat at the kitchen table in Garrus's quarters. Primarch Vicarian needed him. That was a beautiful and terrifying thing. Russ was the only person Garrus confided in. Garrus was as focused as Russ had ever seen him, working every single day as he often had as counselor. Russ brought him food and he ate. Russ asked him to take a break from work and he talked. Russ wouldn't leave at night until Primarch Vicarian was sleeping. They stayed at the Vicarian Madless, as did the rest of the Normandy crew. It was further on the outskirts of Cipertine, had avoided taking direct damage in the way more official hierarchy buildings had not. Garrus was a comfort to the rest of the crew, helping every crew member find a home, find a job, find a family. Russ was a comfort to Garrus, and they both wanted it that way. There was no reason for Garrus to comfort Russ, so he wouldn't allow it, steering Garrus back to his own concerns, helping him work through issues from reconstruction allocation to what the fuck is a Leviathan. The first question was easier than the second. But Garrus lost control of his tenses. It sounded sometimes like Garrus thought Shepard was still alive. Garrus would cover for it by saying he didn't want to change his tenses and she'd always be alive to him, but it was a recurrent and flashing moment in the light of Garrus's eyes, grief and manic energy that made Russ's spine chill. Russ, as always, had less of a relationship with Shepard herself than what she had done, purposely or accidentally or tangentially, to Garrus Vicarian. Especially what she hadn't done for him. The Leviathan had spoken directly to Garrus, which, yeah, that's gotta suck. Some nights Garrus was calm and ordered, and he gave everything for Palavin always. Leviathan and Reapers were helpful. Yeah, it took a little courage to stand still and not bolt in the opposite direction when there were Leviathan and Reapers from here to the horizon, doing the equivalent of trimming the hedges. It was definitely better than being shot at or eaten by them. Garrus was not behaving as though the Reapers were under control and Shepard was dead. He veered toward the paranoid, delusional. He seemed to lose his place in time, and he was right back to where he knew Thane Krios had Lal Shepard. Garrus was exhausted, and Russ could not convince him to get some sleep. It seemed Garrus had forgotten that Russ was even in the room with him. Garrus was faced away, looking out toward the horizon with the arching and slowly moving figures of Leviathan and Reapers trying to undo damage done. Russ wanted to be able to undo damage done, as Garrus said. He has her, and I could have done something. I don't know what. Why didn't I know to just fucking shoot him the moment I saw him? How did I not know that was what mattered? How do I know now what matters? What if it's already too late? Russ walked over to him, placed his hand on Garrus's shoulder until he stopped pacing. Russ then took the bottle out of Garrus's hand and put it carefully on the table. Russ said calmly, "Just give me a few minutes here. I got something to say." Then he picked Garrus up by the waist and shoved him against the wall, leaning in and down. Biotic streamed off Russ, enough for a stasis field on its own without any further effort. Still with a calm voice, though he was shaken with anger, with lust, with helplessness. "This is how it works, isn't it? When you care about someone. This is what you did, right? To her. So let me give it a try. Let's stop talking about Lal Shepard for a few minutes. Just a few. Let's talk about you, Garrus. You're crazy. You're bonded to her. I understand. You've earned your crazy, huh? Let's talk about me for a few minutes. I didn't earn this crazy, but I want to. I want to earn it. I have wanted you since I was 15 years old. Every fucking day of my life since I first saw you, I have wanted you. You know it, don't you? Don't you dare fucking lie to me. Not right now." All Garrus said was, "Yes." Fuck, his voice for just that one word. Blue eyes staring into his, the memory of so many Vicarian men who held themselves suspended, anticipating, lost when Russ held them, still nothing compared to this moment, this man. He could let Garrus go right now, and his eyes, his anticipation, his unwillingness to struggle at all would not change. Russ knew it. He wasn't wrong. You still talk about her and think about her every day. I am not blaming you for that. You can do that every day. But I want you to think about something else for just a little while. Just a little while each day. Then I want you to sleep, and if I have to... I swear, Garrus, you're gonna fucking die if you don't get sleep, and I'm gonna have to escalate here to make sure that happens. You put me on that ship. You had me watch over her, and you stayed in touch with me because you wanted to know about her. But that's not all, is it? You trust me. You need me. If you ever were going to choose another bondmate, it would have been me. Tell the truth, Garrus. It would have been me. Yes. Yes. She's gone. She's gone, and you're crazy. She ripped your heart out. I let you rip my heart out every day, and I'm not running away, Garrus. I want more, not less. Just like you'd tear your own heart out of your chest and hand it to her and apologize for it being bloody and broken if she were here right now, I'll do the same for you. Every day. So we're going to talk about you now. We're going to talk about me. The only thing I want to hear about Lal Shepard is that you know she's gone. You keep saying he has her. Whoever the fuck he is, whoever the fuck you think he is, I don't care, because what matters is that she's gone. You can't have her. I don't care if you fucked up, if you didn't fuck up. I want to know that you know you can't have her. I haven't asked you before, but I'm going to ask you now, and you're going to tell me. Not some crazy bullshit about how you're getting her back someday. Tell me that you know she's gone. She's gone. And I'm still fucking here. Yes. Yes. And you. Russ leaned in and down further, his tongue along Garrus's hide. Finally, spirits. Finally close enough. He knew Garrus's scent in every iteration from sane to crazy, passionate to impassive. Right now, Garrus wouldn't move, wouldn't run, and Garrus needed him. Russ waited for a surge of rejection, but it did not arise in Garrus's eyes, body, or scent. Every single day they would need each other, and Russ would listen to crazy, heart-ripped Garrus, and he'd hear about Shepard, and then he would take this man to bed and hear different things. Russ didn't give a damn if he thought about Shepard, loved her every moment, but Garrus, you think you're alone sometimes even when I'm in the room. You trust me. You know I won't hurt or betray you, and you're so fucking right. You can keep on thinking you're alone when you're not. That's okay. You can treat me like I'm furniture. I just want to be in the fucking room with you. When I'm there, you can think about her as much as you want. I'll be there when you realize, or when I make you realize. You have to breathe. You have to drink. You have to eat. You have to sleep. I'm gonna do something, so maybe you'll understand you've never been as fucking alone as you thought. If you just reached out, just once, to someone who loved you. I was right there. I am right here, and you might be crazy, Garrus, but I still want you. And you still fucking want me. Don't you? To emphasize his point, Russ let go of the stasis and invested his hands, his mouth, with warm, trickling biotics, his hands at Garrus's waist, his tongue along the plate medallions of Garrus's throat until he let out a moan. Sub-vocals in both of them loud enough to vibrate plate. Part pain and part pleasure, and it was always gonna be part pain, wasn't it? But spirits damn them both if Russ wasn't gonna aim for that pleasure. Now, I know how this is supposed to go. I'm supposed to just do it if I'm like you, but I'm not. I might be barefaced and I might be a biotic, but I am Taurian. I will tell you, I will ask you, and I will demand that you answer me because you are Taurian. You are bond-wrenched and wretched and even fucking crazy, Garrus Vicarian. But I want one word from you. Tell me yes, and I will bond to you, just you. Just like I've wanted since I was 15. Every day. Tell me yes. And if it's good enough for you, it's good enough for me. We'll both be bonded to people who can't bond back, and it won't fucking matter. You can love her and want her. You can need me, and it'll always be enough. Need me, Garrus. I'll be there for you every damn day, just like I always have been, given a chance, just like I always will be, even if you say no. But you're not going to say no. Tell me yes. Russ could feel it in his body, but he needed to hear it. Garrus might not love him as much as he loved Shepard, but he did love him. He couldn't have her, and Russ would not allow him to have nothing. My heart's ripped out, and it's broken and bloody, Garrus, but it's something. Please. Garrus's eyes were flickering with chaos and need, love, and warning. Garrus said with subharmonics pleading for understanding. You don't understand. Russ smiled at him. I don't have to understand it, Garrus. I just have to hear it. I'll bond to you knowing you're crazy and broken. You can say yes knowing I don't understand. I have never once understood, so that won't change anything. I will love you. Crazy, broken, and so fucking confused you can't find yourself. I will find you. I will take care of you. Let me take care of you. And if you want me to understand someday, then tell me again. I'll try. But fuck if I give a shit about understanding right now, Vicarian. Right now, I want one word to be understood. Tell me fucking yes, and then I stay here with you. You won't be alone. You won't be abandoned. You will always have me. I won't leave you with nothing. You have nothing right now, Garrus. I know you're hers. Let me be yours. Garrus said softly, I don't deserve you. Russ smiled. Yeah, I know that, but I don't know that. It's complicated, right? So tell me yes, and we work the rest out together. Nothing. Or something. I don't care about complicated. Fuck, Vicarian, I'm already the one that gets you to sleep at night. This way I get to stay. Say yes, so I can cut down on my commute. Russ knew the yes was coming. He already had him. It was done. It was in his body, in his subharmonics, in his scent. He waited for the word. Russ moved his tongue along Garrus's hide, the side of his throat, choosing his spot. He closed his eyes, waiting, listening to and feeling the heave of Garrus's panting, not deciding, not choosing, but savoring, just as Russ was. It was done. It was something already. It had been something for a good long while. Garrus's body went slack with surrender. His hand moved to Russ's shoulder, talons out and scraping along the plate of Russ's cowl. Garrus's voice was rich with complication and all the worlds of something as he said, yes. Russ leaned in at the word, taking up Garrus's surrender into his hands to shelter and protect it and him, physical support and strength flooding his body along with warm biotics. Russ's teeth sank into and through his hide, his tongue following from point to point. The word R, meaning mine, surged through him in its fullest sense, the word that had always belonged to Garrus. He had that jarring moment of not being able to say it to Garrus. Garrus did not belong to him. Garrus belonged to Shepard, but he wanted Garrus to call him that because it was true. Fuck. Call me Yansak, Russ, R, by any name. Mine. Yours. But he knew Garrus. He did. Better than anybody. Better than Shepard ever had. With that yes came everything the man had to give, wrenched and wretched and even crazy. He was Garrus Vicarian, and he would give everything. Russ could ask for the man and the word, and then that given, more words, all of the man. He didn't need to ask. Russ's teeth scraped over the hide of Garrus's throat, fitting back into the marks he'd made, his tongue gathering in more of his bondmate into his body. His body did not care at all that Shepard had ever existed. His smug joy of being Turian and even his biotics flared as he asked his bondmate for a gift. Call me Ah. Please. Garrus's head was pinned back against the wall, throat arched and fringe scraping as his talons dug into Russ's shoulders, sparks of blue cascading down their bodies. Only if you do the same. Ah. Fuck if he did not know this man and everything about him worth knowing. Every chance I get. Thank you for all my chances. Ah. Thank you for my bond. Thank you for my life. Thank you for your voice. Thank you for your body. Thank you for your spirit. Garrus was exhausted and wanted to give. Always wanted to give, and Russ would not let him, allowing him only the strength to keep his talons gripped on his shoulder. If there was one thing Garrus was tired of carrying, it was authority. He wanted Garrus's surrender and his sleep, reverie invested in his body after years of not being touched, not being allowed to touch. Bondmates shared blood, shared scent, gave and took, and all Russ wanted was to give. He had no right to Garrus's scent, intended for Shepard. He did not know if Garrus would want his blood, but he would not make him take it. Complicated, but something. Garrus should bite, but Russ wouldn't make him do that. Didn't know if he wanted it. His stasis and warm biotics holding Garrus in place, and the longer he did that, the warmer Garrus's subvocals and scent became. He was enjoying being right where he was, suspended and helpless and wanted. Russ cut sharp lines into his own throat with his talons, his own blood there so Garrus could reach for it or let it go. With that hand Russ offered, and Garrus's tongue licked out along his talons, watching his bondmate with Russ's blood on his tongue, gentle and warm, the most erotic thing he had ever seen or felt. The blaze of biotic sudden and fierce. The idea of sex with Garrus's rumbling moan and his voice calling him Ah was a series of the most temptingly erotic things he had ever imagined, and he had imagined a fucking lot with this man. Russ leaned in to touch twining tongues, Garrus's blood still on his tongue, the blending making Russ's eyes closed, Garrus moaning and head tipped back further, throat bared. He wanted to shred the clothes off his bondmate, but they both wore cloth of the Citadel, something they may never see again, something to be respected. Imagine him with a smile that he'd run through Garrus's finery in a week if given a chance. Just put one more thing on, Primarch. I'll make sure it's unwearable in a few seconds. Russ kept Garrus against the wall with his thighs and cowl, both with plates spread and near catching on each other. Vicarian's blissful surrender something to behold, as one busy, biotic-invested hand moved to shift clothing, undo fastenings, and cast them aside as his other hand held Garrus by the throat, fingers smeared in blood, Garrus's tongue gliding over his hand to taste. It took a damn long time. Shrugs and shifts and eyes closed, tongues twining, and Garrus's throat always open to Russ. There was a long moment as Russ shifted out of his clothes long after Garrus's were gone, and when Russ leaned back in, hips pressed in, plates grinding together, Garrus's cock twisting against his, reaching and twining like his tongue. Pants and moans and ah, and all the need Russ could ever want from his bondmate. Russ lifted Garrus up against the wall by the hip spur, unwilling to take his hand from Garrus's throat, where the marks were, where the marks would stay, where Russ could see them every day. Both of Garrus's hands were on his shoulders now, talons scraping on plate and digging into hide, more blood on talon tips. Russ moved his hand to Garrus's cock, gliding along to Garrus's bliss-projected moans, blue smearing his mouth, and the sounds he made. Russ found the marks again with his teeth, deepened and widened them as he felt the subharmonics, the keening, and the biotics. Garrus trembling, and Russ's teeth on his frantic to consummate bond before he died of bliss and heart failure. He hadn't wasted a single fucking moment of his life fantasizing about this man. He just hadn't been imaginative enough. Reality and complication and all the nothing and something adding up to insignificant compared to the real thrust into his bondmate's body. Reverie and possession and protection. Surrender and ownership. Garrus roared and keened, and Russ groaned, mouth occupied by bond mark and bliss and blood. Pulses of blue heat, surges of body, and biotics washed through them both. Russ lost himself in his bondmate's body. When he could think, which was not soon, he said, "I promised you that you could sleep." I think I was lying. I'm sure I was lying. Garrus laughed, almost coughing, hoarse and weak. Surrender, and both dripping blue in so many ways. Whatever you need, R. I only need you, Garrus. Garrus was out at her flame at the appointed time the next day. Russ, absolutely true to his word, which Garrus knew he would be, that he'd honor Garrus's bond to Shepard for his lifetime and would never begrudge his time with her. Garrus talked to her, and it was easier than it usually was. Complication and chaos and reverie humming in his blood, and the solid, stable point of an overwhelming specter of obstinate dedication in the form of Hemoris Yansak. Hemoris Vicarian. If there's something that being almost exterminated as a species could do, it would be to make Turians not give a damn about barefaced, biotic, gay, broken bond, or bisexual, because who the fuck cares about that now? Love who you love. Life is short. Well, life's short for some of us. Cara, I think you'd be happy for me. How weird is this? How weird is all of this? Somehow, I know you'd get it. You were always more comfortable in the weird, and I think you'd smile at me and say, "Good," and maybe kiss me on the nose or something. Something very Cara. I'm going to tell him everything. It will take a little while. You may not believe me, but I've got someone who loves me. Lots of people who love me. Right here. I think I get what you meant now when you told me to fight for myself. This is for myself. It might be selfish, and maybe even cruel to him, but I do love him, and I have to admit I need the sleep. When he lets me get any. Someday. I just know you'd rather I was happy when I wasn't here, and not waiting for my chance to stick my hand in the flame of your memory. I wish you two had been friends. But I'll tell you about him, okay? I told him everything. Still no sleep, of course, but I'm happy. I know you told me not to tell anybody about gods and deals, and, well, he's not just anybody. He's my bondmate. I know you'd understand. I don't think he understands, because, of course, neither do I, but I did show him the video of you. Well, I was alone with the Leviathan decision. Do I warn my people? Of course I don't. I tell my people what is their best hope, their best chance. You know what he said to me? He volunteered to be a pilot. He said, if she thought Turians would make a difference, let's make a difference. Throw me at them. I volunteer. Hell, if they want big, dumb, and obedient, I'm their guy. Let's do this. You know how you told me that your parents would have loved me? Well, he loves you. He loves me. I'm going to fight for myself. I'm going to fight for you. I'm going to fight for him, and I have no idea what's going to happen. I do know what love is, though. He apologizes, by the way, for some things he thought, some things he said. He says he can't make it up to you, but he will make it up to me, and I need him. I love him. I don't know a lot of things. I know eventually I'll get some sleep. And I know I'll be back tomorrow, and I'll tell you how it's going. I love you, Cara. Wherever you are. I love you so much.